Welcome to another episode of the OC podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we're going to continue on in breaking down episode by episode of the OC. As always, I'm joined by my partner here, Kenzie. How are you today?
I'm good. I don't know if I'm tired. I slept too much with this extra hour. I don't know what's going on.
I felt really weird because I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and I was just like, hey, hello world. And then I was like, oh my God, we're almost close to Christmas.
November 1st, almost close to Christmas.
That's when Christmas starts, right? You know what I mean? Like it's the countdown begins. Thugs, thanks for joining us again here. We are going to break down season 1, episode 12, called The Secret. Last week I forgot about the synopsis, but this week I will not forget about it because that's just, I remembered this time. So I mean, they're so bad, but this one's not particularly grand either. So are you ready, Kenzie?
I'm ready.
All right.
I went to IMDb earlier and I almost clicked on it and I was like, no.
It's really hard not to.
Yeah, especially because that's where I try to find fun facts, but I can't do that because then I'll read it.
Exactly. If it's in front of you, you're going to read it, right? You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
Exactly. So I'm ready.
We're on the eve of the best Christmaka ever episode, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I definitely was like, oh my God, today's a Christmaka episode, like an idiot. I don't know why, because I knew a bad guy had not appeared yet, so I knew it wasn't time yet. But I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, me too. So the synopsis: no one was supposed to see what happened, but Luke did, and so did Ryan. Now, somehow, all Newport knows that Luke's dad has been living a lie, and the subsequent gossip raises questions of the secrecy and trust.
Pretty good.
Right, yeah.
Because it tells you something big happens, but it doesn't tell you what.
Yeah, it's not like the rest of them.
Literally, I'm surprised
Marissa
it doesn't say.
Yeah, so it's oh man, it's so good.
Pretty decent.
We pan into the OC. We got a big picture. You know what I mean? Like when the episode first kicks off, we got a nice little pan in of the OC, how rich it is.
Yeah, and my favorite song from the OC ever of any soundtrack other than the Christmaka soundtrack, but the Dandy Warhols, I love them so much, and the song is replayed through the entire episode, and I love the Dandy Warhols.
Fantastic. And then of course, we're coming off the episode where Seth is caught himself in the midst of a love triangle, which is the first time in his entire life, and he doesn't really know what to do. It's hilarious because he's dancing down the halls, which it's a really infamous gif, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I use it all the time, and in my head I knew it was from an episode where it does this cut where you can tell something different's going on for him.
Yeah,
but I use it all the time, and when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme,
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute!"
It's so funny when you get to things like that you use every day. Because I use that a lot to when it's 5 o'clock and it's time to leave work. So
I think we've sent it to each other a million times.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So obviously, we transitioned from happy Seth dancing down the halls to, oh my God, he's sick, and we all know why he doesn't want to go to school. Which, coming from a kid that probably has never missed a day in his entire existence, even whenever he's probably sick, he goes to school. It was just funny. It was just hilarious. Ryan here, amazing,
hilarious,
oh
so
my God.
Funny.
And before we say what he said, obviously, when he says it and Sandy, it kind of goes over Sandy's head. That's the best part of it.
It's honestly the funniest thing because Ryan is so not funny to everyone, even though he's hilarious, but no one around him registers him as being funny.
Right.
He's making all these jokes. He's like, do you have the summer flu? And Sandy's like, are you sick? Do you have a fever? And then he's like, maybe you need some antibiotics. And Sandy's like, maybe we should take you to the doctor. And then 5 minutes go by, all this dialogue, and then Sandy picks up on the fact that he's faking it, and he's like, oh my God, the summer flu.
The
He's
light
like,
bulb
that was
went on.
good. So funny.
The light bulb went on. It was fantastic. Yes. I don't know what they do so great about this show, but the opening here was so fun. It's a collective family moment, and it's like just a bunch of making fun of each other. I mean, we bring up the fact that Kirsten comes in and, getting drunk and passing out on Thanksgiving, which still seems to be the theme of because I would assume that this is Monday, right? Thanksgiving's the Thursday. So normally
Yeah.
school kids have the Thursday, Friday off.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming back around. And I guess this might be the last time everybody saw each other, right? You know what I mean? So Kirsten passed out drunk, which we talked about in the last episode.
Which, like, it's so funny because I know something happens later on in the series with her and alcohol, but like, if you ignore that and you're like laying out the situation, I'm like, I don't really blame her. Like, it's a really stressful situation. Like,
and
there's
as the
a
night
reason
progressed, it got worse.
Yeah. And there's like a reason like people drink when they get around their families and stuff, like, because it's not fun if it's too many people because you just know there's going to be drama,
Right.
let alone like her husband and her father despise each other with nothing else going on. And now there's this lawsuit going on. So it's like, it's all heightened.
Yeah.
And then it's like, she's like frenemies with Julie at this point. Like, they're not really
Right.
friends. And like, she's dating her dad. Like I don't blame the alcohol at all. I'm like, and any adult should not make fun of her.
No.
Like, I know the
judging her at this
Noopsies
point.
are gossipy little brats, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I'd like to see any of the Noopsies in Kirsten's position and not drink.
I would drink if I was in her position.
I was drinking watching it.
Exactly.
Like ridiculous.
It was just so funny to me because it's just like they're making fun of her, but you're right. You put yourself in Kirsten's shoes and you're like, yeah, like she was.
I get it. Like,
I get it 100%.
Didn't have enough.
I drink for a lot less right now. You know what I mean? Like, I love the fact that Sandy coined herself a new word there, yoga lattes.
Well, actually, it's a thing.
Oh.
Like, it's an actual thing.
Yoga lattes.
And he just can't stop saying it because it's like Krona, like it's a dumb combined thing, but he can't stop saying it. And I love when he's like, I can't, she's like making fun of him. She's like, you can't stop saying it. He's like, yoga lattes. And he looks at Ryan and Ryan goes, yoga lattes. And I'm like, why is Ryan saying yoga lattes? Like, it was really funny. This is a really great Ryan episode for jokes. He's full of jokes.
It's so good. And because like at that particular moment, I love how we just towards the end of the episode or the end of the opening, right before the opening song hits, they just have that bonding moment. It's like at this particular moment, it's Ryan, Sandy,
But I have a question. So they're like, we didn't do anything wrong, and they cheers.
Right.
Didn't Ryan like take Marissa to Chino and like drive a stolen car?
Happened.
Like, am I missing something? I mean, like, obviously they don't know about the stolen car, but like,
no, but they do know about the Marissa thing.
Yeah, like, come on, like, I don't know. Sandy probably did something up in there. I don't know.
He's always in trouble.
He's always husbanding.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Is that a thing? Like, did you just make it up?
I don't know. Anytime my husband said something super controversial in my household this morning, and that's what I wrote it off as, husbanding.
Husbanding. I like that. We transition to school project time.
I love the teachers explaining this, right? They're like, counts as 45% of your grade. I was like, excuse me? Like, you go to school this whole semester and it all comes down to one project?
Right.
And like, okay, when I was in in elementary and high school, middle school or whatever, you kind of finish school like the 20th or like the 18th or something of December. So why do they have 2 weeks to do a project that counts as like 50% of their grade?
Yeah, because you have like at least another month of that semester, right? At least of that semester. Because normally you go into like fall break and that semester's over or whatever. That's how it was for us, and it's how it's for the kids nowadays. But you're right, like there's still a full.
Because it's like if it's like Thanksgiving's always either you go back to school and it's like December 1st, or it's like November 30th. But like There's no way that's enough time for a project that's that much of your grade.
45. If you fail this project,
You
basically,
fail the class.
exactly. There's no opportunity otherwise. Like it's just.
And like I know they were saying like Harbor has a extra expedited curriculum, but like
Right.
come on, that's
it's a lot for
that's
one.
asking for a lot of parents to be punishing their children while they're at home for a Christmas break.
Right? Yeah, because that's like you're right. Oh my god! And
you get your grades while you're at home.
Right, like you're at home for like 2.5 weeks almost, basically.
I don't know if the people that wrote this never went to public school or something. I don't know, but this is not how it works. Like,
not at all.
I don't know.
We see Luke and Ryan get paired, which I found funny because Marissa's like, I tried to tell the teacher to let us pair up together. They wouldn't let them. Everybody knows they're dating, so obviously they're not going to let them pair together.
So my only question about this is Ryan is a new student, and I feel like they would pair him specifically with someone that's doing well at the school, and it's been made very clear that Luke is not.
Right.
Like, especially when like Ryan goes to Luke's house, like his dad says something like, keep him in check, like he needs to do better. So I don't think they would pair, especially because like of Ryan's like background, like they said he had bad grades and like.
Right, exactly.
Especially because Harbor is a private school. I feel like they would have gone out of their way to like pair him with someone that was doing well in school, because he's still barely been at this school. Like it's like not even the first semester of his time at this school's up. Yeah. So I call a little bullshit on this.
Oh, 100%.
Pairing. 100%. Not just because like they would be not a good compatible pair, but like if he's like kind of like on a probationary period, like they're not going to pair him with someone who's not at least getting an A. Like,
and we're pretty well known in this area of town that everybody knows everything.
Right? Yeah, like I don't know, it's just weird. Unless like the teacher was like, "Fuck Ryan," like,
which is possible. Or
like maybe the teacher is from like Irvine and like they hate Chino and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like,
or he knows there's this
he wants to see the drama unfold.
Right? Unless he knows the conflict is there and then puts them together on purpose. You know what I mean? That's so a possibility. Marissa and Seth making fun of Ryan teaming up with Luke was pretty funny.
Just like it was Marissa being funny is like really funny because it's not like how Ryan is funny and nobody notices. Like Marissa's never really funny.
No.
So when she was being funny, I was like, this is so bizarre. Like, but her and Seth have this really cute relationship that never is shown. And when it is shown, I'm like, this is so cute.
Right. Yeah, because it's so funny to us because you think in our heads we see they've lived next to each other their entire lives, and they have this incredible bond, which is really strong. You know what I mean? Like it's really good. Like they have a lot of the same interests and stuff like that. So it's funny to me when it comes down to them being funny together. The next thing is I love Summer is so mad at Marissa for having lunch with Seth.
It's so funny because like I don't know where Summer was when they were having lunch, because their school's not very big that it wouldn't be like everyone has the same lunchtime. Like it's a pretty small school. And like, I totally get it. Like Summer's in the right, but she should have laid down her alliances before, because it's different when your boyfriend is dating is like the best friend of the guy that is like, I don't know, but I would have loved to see Summer's explanation of what went down on Thanksgiving to Marissa.
Oh my God.
I feel like it was super blown out of proportion, and like, I really wish I could see it. And then I wonder if Marissa came to Ryan and was like, what happened?
Right. And like had like a,
because that's what I would do.
Right. Because you get the one side from Summer, right? And then Ryan gets the side from Seth, which Ryan was also, and then you meet in the middle, and then Ryan and Marissa meet in the middle to like combine the stories to figure out what really happened. And then it's just like, we're in a kind of a big mess. That's super funny.
Would have been so funny to see unfolded.
And then obviously, while this conversation is going on, Anna enters the picture here, which is pretty funny, because she's in the bathroom as they're having the conversation, and Summer goes, "Oh, you know."
It's really funny because like that is something that could happen, but why did Marissa be like, "I'm leaving"?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Like
when Marissa left, I was like, I'd be kind of pissed at my friend if she just like left when I was mid-conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
It bothered me. I don't think Marissa's a very good friend. I don't want to like say that, but like
Yeah. She made a questionable decision here so far. And then, of course, Summer makes fun of Anna because she said, "You're like flossing at school." And then,
I want to say though, I flossed at school.
yeah,
Yeah, I like really wanted to be a dentist for a long time, and I was like obsessed. But she is correct. If people are listening and still go to school in person or work in person, floss your teeth after you eat lunch.
yeah, look at that little tidbit from Kenzie here.
And Anna, or
Oh, well, yeah,
you know,
the Anna. It's just funny, and then by the end of this conversation, they go back and forth. She gives her,
the
some of the
floss.
floss, and
It's really
then
funny.
they come
I
out
like
of the
that
door.
moment because they haven't really had a chance to interact. They just both don't like each other because of Seth.
Right, exactly.
But like they've never really talked. They just like don't like each other because of Seth. But they've
Right.
never really like had their own conversation without Seth.
No, it was just a full-fledged like, oh, Pittsburgh, and then ew, like you're preppy,
Exactly.
and then it was like, oh, look, they had a moment,
Because
and then
Summer like brought up like, which was smart for Summer, being like, you don't like Seth because Seth likes me, not because of whatever. And she was like, no, like I just don't like him because he did that to us.
exactly.
And then Summer was like, what? Like people can be like that? Like
Exactly.
And she's like, give me some of that floss, bitch. And then they walk out all happy together. And then Seth.
Boom. And it was like the worst nightmare for Seth, right? You know what I mean? Like I died laughing, and I was just
Like, I was so uncomfortable just watching it. I can't imagine experiencing it.
oh, for sure. Like I don't even understand like what is yes, you know what I mean? And then of course it's just a hilarious moment. They have a bonding moment, and they of course they take advantage of that, which is hilarious all in itself because, so my question to you is if you're in Seth's shoes here, right? You know what I mean? This has never happened to Seth before in his life. Like you can't fault the guy really for what kind of transpired, but at the same time, obviously, it was not the most. It's not a.
Honestly, just been like, Summer, Anna's here on Thanksgiving, and like none of this would have happened.
For sure. But it's summer, and you know what I mean? Like it's just summer. You know what I mean?
I suppose, but
I mean, but at the same time, he didn't know Summer was going to show up, obviously, either. You know what I mean? That was,
But he just could have easily been like,
yeah.
I don't know. It sucks because I love Seth, but I was like uncomfortable by the whole
So then,
thing.
of course, we transition into the scene where they're in the locker room. Kirsten and everybody's talking, and everybody's surprised because Kirsten showed up because she had a hangover for what? Now this would have been like 4 days in a row that she would have had this hangover. We wouldn't have been able to come to Yoga Lattes.
But wouldn't Yoga Lattes have been like open? Because would people have been going? Because like I'm sure these people aren't from Newport, and then they probably have their families come to them. So I honestly think this would have been the first day back to Yoga Lattes also.
Yeah, so exactly. There was a line in here. I could go for a little hair of a dog myself. What?
I don't know what that means. Like there was a lot of stuff they were saying, and I was like, what? Like
I literally rewound it 3 times.
The Noopsies talked like really weird. Like, I don't know.
1, I was trying to figure out if what she said that I thought she said. 2, I was trying to write down what she said. And 3, I was trying to figure out what I could go for a little hair of the dog myself meant. And I never Googled it, which I probably should have, but I still don't understand what that means. Obviously, we transition to Jimmy and Julia's conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
uncomfortable.
It's just like it's really weird.
She's so mean.
She's just like, I don't know, like why, like he's still the father of like her children. Like I don't know. And then it's like Marissa's called her out on it. So I'm like, can't you move past this? Like it's so infuriating. And like I guess though at this point in time, like we don't realize that the conversation that Julie's had with Caleb. So in our heads, we're like, she can figure this out with Caleb, but like that's not really the case.
Right, exactly. And it's weird, right? It's very weird because it's just like I don't even understand. Like how could you? I could go to jail maybe you should. She follows up with it. I'm just like,
It's so horrible.
the thing about it is, even if he goes to jail, right? He still has to pay the fines.
I think it's like a longer time to pay it back. Like right now, the whole thing keeping him out of jail is he has like so many days. Like he has till January 1st to pay restitution. But I'm sure if he goes back to jail, he can like work it off over time.
Oh, for sure. But I'm like, we know he owes so much money.
But I think like then, like Julie could probably find something. Like she could find another guy to pay for her house.
She has Caleb right now, so
yeah.
There's that. We transition into Ryan and Luke walking. They're, he walks in or whatever, and they kind of have a bonding moment, which is cute.
Wait, Luke's family is not the way I pictured them.
No.
Like, I kind of picture them being like assholes, like everyone else has been portrayed in Newport.
Yes.
And when they're like really nice, I'm like, why is Luke like this? And I still don't understand why Luke is like this, because you can tell his little brothers, which is so funny. I don't remember seeing them young. I only remember them old when Caitlin becomes a more central figure.
Right.
But like they're like running around like maniacs, and then the dad comes in and they like straighten up and they're like really well behaved. Yeah. And I'm like, so that's like a positive parenting structure. Why is Luke a terrorist? Like, exactly. I don't understand. And it's so weird.
And his dad's like super nice.
That's so nice. Like invites Ryan to this football game. Like, what is going on?
We got great seats to the football game. Do you want to come? This is the first time he's ever met Ryan in his entire, and I'm sure he knows about Ryan. Everybody else in town knows.
Because Luke got in trouble and they had to pick him up from juvie or whatever.
Right.
With Ryan.
There. Right. Exactly.
And like his mom was like, you remember Ryan. And I'm assuming his mom meant it like that kid.
That Ryan. You know what I mean?
But I just love that Luke is straight up a nerd. They get into his room and he's like, well, I was thinking we could do a PowerPoint and then we could do stuff. I got all these books from the library. I was like, Luke's a nerd? Like, so fine, but like it's just really weird setup he's got here.
Super. But
he leads into the whole, my dad has this thing at his office, which I don't know, like, why does your dad have something you could do a PowerPoint? If you have a laptop, why can't you do a PowerPoint?
Yeah, because it was, and not in his office, like his office at the car dealership, not like his office in the house. Like I was
also
thinking,
like that whole thing confused me because I'm like, does he have keys to his dad's dealership? Right? Because if his dad is hiding something, like it doesn't work if your son has keys.
Right, it doesn't, not at all. I mean, because we see what happens in a minute, but you're right. I didn't think about that. Like you wouldn't want your kid
to have access to this place
and say, "Hey, what's going on?" And for what to happen happened. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
It's like weird. I don't know if that's a goof. I don't know what it is. It needs explained.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense because obviously what ends up happening, happens because Luke has keys to said facility.
So they're in this Mustang that they turn on with no keys somehow. No car keys. Turn the car on. I don't know. Blasting music. Car is on.
Yeah.
In an enclosed space, so it's probably loud, like louder than normal.
Yep.
His dad doesn't hear?
Yeah.
His dad's not like, who's in my dealership? Because it's nighttime. Why would someone be in there?
Exactly. I didn't understand that either.
I don't understand. Like, I just feel like for someone who's hiding something this big of a secret, he's not paying attention. Like, no. I don't understand. And because then they walk in.
It's not like a 5-minute secret. It's not like a 5-minute secret. It's been going on for years.
And they walk in so like
nonchalant.
Like, but they're aware. They're like, we're in public. We can't be touching.
Right, yeah.
They wait until they're like inside in some hallway to like hold hands even, and then they kiss. And I just feel like I don't know why Luke wasn't like, hey, like why did Luke wait until they started kissing to I don't know, because like if I saw my dad like from afar, I'd be like, hey, like
yeah, exactly.
You know, like I wouldn't be like
I wouldn't just wait.
Luke was just standing there and I'm like, this was not like I don't know if the acting wasn't staged properly to where like it laid out naturally.
Yeah.
But it was like a very like forced like
and I don't correct me if I'm wrong here, but whenever we see them, it's just basically like an open door that they can see through when
you
they
would
see it happen.
Definitely notice someone else there.
Right. So you would have not just heard somebody, you hear a car with music blaring and
And
this
it's like a
door.
dealership he owns. Like, I don't
Right.
understand because it's like, it's nighttime. It's made very clear to us that this place is closed.
Right.
And that's why, was his name Gus? Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why Luke's dad and Gus are so comfortable once they get inside and they're like out of the windows
Right.
to
Because it's
kiss
night.
because it's like nobody's there. So I'm like, wouldn't
Right.
you notice that somebody's there?
And on top of that, nobody's in the place, right? So there's not a lot of noise going on. So like
Yeah.
the echo of a car starting and music, it would be very present to the moment.
And like they had stuff with them and like they were like, it's two guys. Like it's not like it's like one person kind of like trying to sneak around. Like these are two guys
Right.
that aren't even trying to pretend they're not there.
No, they're literally
I don't know. It's really
having
weird.
fun. Yeah.
Like I remember watching it like when it was on as a kid and being like, this is so dramatic, but like it's not as dramatic. It's kind of like I don't understand how Luke, like they've made it very clear that Luke's dad is smart
Right.
because his dad even makes fun of the fact that like I have this degree yet I own a car dealership. Like
Exactly.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
But like so I mean he would know, and especially like they keep bringing up that his dad's never around.
Exactly.
And he's always been going on these trips, which we're led to believe is because he was having this love affair.
Mhm.
But like, if they put that much effort into hiding, they wouldn't notice two people.
And a really loud car and music.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. It bothered me. Like,
normally they're really good at stuff like this on the show, and it was just kind of weird. It kind of was
I
kind of
honestly think maybe it was like staging or something.
Yeah.
Like they laid out the scene and it just didn't work as well in person. I don't know. Yeah. But also that car was not nice. I don't know anything about cars, but I don't want a red Mustang.
I wouldn't want a red car. I don't know. I liked Eleanor, like Gone in 60 Seconds. That was my kind of car. Now I really don't have a kind of car. I just want to get from point A to point B and I'm okay with it. As long as it runs, I'm good. You know what I mean? But obviously the moment we're talking about is, Gus and Luke's dad.
Wait, can we talk about what is his dad's name? They never say it. They keep saying Luke's dad. I don't know his name.
I don't either. I think they do. No, wait a minute. I thought they do. Doesn't I thought Sandy calls him by his name. Maybe not. I thought maybe Sandy did at towards the end of the episode, but I don't think I wrote it down.
But see, even then it would be towards the end.
Right, yeah. So up until now it's Luke. Even whenever the secret's getting passed around.
Luke's dad. Did you hear about Luke's dad?
Right.
Carson.
Oh, it's Carson. Okay. I was going to say it's not even on the. I guess I have to expand the cast list in order to see it. Because I was just like, yeah, because I don't really I remember writing down. Normally, whenever I write it down, like somebody just like Luke's dad or whatever, you normally correct me or just say the person's name. So I was like, okay, cool. I don't remember it, but I'm pretty certain she will correct me. So we have Carson. Okay, yeah. So there it is. Brian McNamara. Carson Ward. Okay. So obviously the moment happens, they kiss. Ryan sees it. Sorry, I keep on saying Seth. Ryan sees it. Luke sees it. Oh my God. And then, of course, the Gus bus sees it as well. And the rest is history. That freaks out. Yikes. You know what I mean? So the question to you is this, right? Do you see this happen in your Ryan? Okay.
I mean, Ryan was really just like, oh shit, this is going to make everything with Luke horrible.
Right.
That was Ryan's face. Like, he was like, shit, this is like bad for me and the relationship I've started with Luke. Because like they've already been through some shit.
Right. So the thing is weird is not 24 hours. I would say maybe a nighttime transpires, right? Because what's really weird is like I guess he was supposed to meet up with Marissa or talk to Marissa that night, right? Because that's kind of known the next day because they start grilling. Would you, if you were Ryan, like I would have had to have told somebody?
Well, I mean, it's like Marissa says at the very end of the episode, when someone tells you you can't say anything, everyone knows that does not include someone's significant other.
Right.
Like, sorry.
So if something like that happens.
Also, like, because I had the same best friend like my entire life and like we're still best friends, I'm pretty sure everyone knew if they ever told me not to tell anyone something that I was telling my friend Kelsey.
Right.
Like
Right.
Marissa and
That's
Summer.
looped
Like
in,
Marissa
right? That's
is
just
telling Summer. Like
right. Yeah.
except like I guess it sucks when someone's best friends with someone like Summer who like comes across like a blabbermouth.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh my god, Summer's gonna tell someone.
Yeah. So
But
if I'm on my way home or I get home, somebody's gonna have to find out. Like this one's a big one, right? You know what I mean? So obviously get home. And then of course they're walking into school. Seth is hilarious here. You know what I mean? He's given Ryan, shit because, him and Luke, they stayed up. As we know, we know that they didn't, but Marissa and Seth think that they just stayed up all night, buddied and studied and did their project and they're best friends now.
I wonder if he like needed to decompress.
Right.
Like, because it's like he probably is worried for Luke because that's just like I don't know how you react to that.
Yeah.
And then he's also, like I was saying, like he made some progress with Luke. And he knows Luke's immediate reaction is going to be to like recoil back and like be a jerk.
Which we see in a few minutes. You know what I mean? And you're right. It's crazy because, and then on top of that, like Ryan always feels like he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean?
He's always at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like always. It's crazy.
It was like cool. Caleb and Julia. That was the most recent moment, and now this one. It's like back to back. It's like, and this is a big one. You know what I mean? Like again,
this was like. I just think Ryan understands because like his parents aren't together.
Right.
And he understands like the effect of like your parents not being together. And on top of that, he just watched everything with Marissa's dad.
Yes.
And like, so it's just like he can see this like gossip side of it that like he didn't see when his parents split up. Like,
right.
Like people were probably more in Ryan's corner being somewhere where it's not as gossipy as Newport. And like, I just think Ryan is like, this is not, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah,
like,
because the first time Caleb ever introduces himself, oh, so that's the kid that burnt down my house. That's he knows that's like going to be the thing. I do love when Seth, they're walking in and Seth goes, oh, great. First Summer and Anna, now you and Luke.
It's so funny.
He's just really upset. And then, of course, Ryan walks up to approach Luke, and then Luke just says something very distasteful to him and some remarks to Seth. And then he goes, I would like at this particular moment when he acts like, I feel like I would send what are we in? Like AOL. So I'd probably instant messenger everybody like what happened.
This is 2003?
Yeah. I don't even know what I would have done.
Was a MySpace like?
I would have put it on. I would have plastered it on my MySpace.
The bulletin board?
Yes. Gus or Luke's dad was making out with another man. I would have made sure to publish that on my MySpace just because of that moment we just had. He was such a jerk to Ryan. Such a jerk.
But you could see it in Luke's eyes, like, shut up. Like, don't say anything. Like, he was like, oh my God. Like, it's just, but that's what I don't get. Like, why is Luke like that?
Yep.
And he plays water polo, doesn't he? Isn't that like an outlet? Like, I don't.
I mean, you do have to hit the ball. So, I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, and then of course we transition inside. Seth goes to try to give a talk to Anna. You know what I mean? Like he just tries to, kiss up a little bit. And then of course she gives him the cold shoulder. And then Anna and Summer are bonding, which is
It's so funny because Anna's saying all these things that are like Summer's like does not understand. And before she was like making fun of her for things like this, but now she's like cool with it. And I'm like, can you be consistent?
Exactly. But, I mean, I guess it's the bonding over giving
the hatred of Seth.
Yeah, exactly. It's apparently strong. Of course, then we transition. I think the first moment is whenever they're at the Yoga Lattes, right? Is whenever it first gets spun, which then the phone calls proceed to everybody calling everybody whenever it got around town.
That
really
stupid
fast.
lady, Taryn, runs in. And I like that Julie and Kirsten are like off to the side because you can tell that like Julie and Kirsten play the game, but they're not like part of it. Right. Like Julie used to be, but then the whole thing with Jimmy kind of made her turn sour on these ladies.
Right.
So Julie and Kirsten are off to the side. And there's always that one lady who runs in with all this gossip. But the way she does it is like, it makes me so uncomfortable because like, I understand it's like a juicy gossip thing, but I'm like, this is like the end of a family as they know it. Like, it's so horrible. And like, I don't know how, like, I don't know. I know we
And
all
she
do
played it
like,
up like it was just like hilarious.
yeah, and then I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, this is
Oh.
horrible. And
They have
then
what,
like,
3 kids, right? 3?
yeah, and
So
like two
Luke
of
and
them are
his
young.
right. This
And
is
like, but I also love that she's she's like, someone was getting her car serviced and overheard. And I'm like, what? What? Like, how do you just overhear this? But then, like, later, Luke explains the details of it going out like this, and it makes
yeah.
more sense to me. But,
Yeah.
like,
At
I'm
this
like,
particular moment though.
it doesn't make any sense. I'm like,
No.
you were at a car dealership and you overheard that someone is gay
Yeah.
and his wife is leaving him?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And that's what makes this situation even less funny because we're in this moment. It's not like he's cheating on her with another woman, right? Because
Because
it's like
this calls into, like, I mean, it's the name of the episode, The Secret. Like,
right,
how many other things have you been keeping a secret? Like,
right.
what are the real feelings involved here? Like, has the entire marriage been a sham? Like, where did it, like, because it's not like you were saying, like, it's not like another woman. Like, it's someone completely different that
Exactly.
she probably never thought twice when he was like, I'm going on a business trip with my partner Gus. But if he had gone on a business trip with someone named Jennifer, she would have been all up in arms about it. But
Exactly.
apparently she didn't have to worry about that. Like, because then the one lady, it made me so annoyed. She was like, he's never made a pass at me. So now I feel a little bit better. I'm like, this family
That's the
is
worst.
going to barely recover from this. And you're just like, he never checked me out.
That's
Also,
what
like,
she took out of it.
does that mean all these ladies were like okay if they all cheated on each other with each other's like spouses? Like,
as long as they checked him out, right? Like what?
I just was like, I'm so grateful I wasn't raised somewhere like this.
Oh my god, it's so bad, right? It's just it calls into question everything. It just like each one of these people are evil human beings.
Yeah, like just horrible. But I love Julie and Kirsten's response. Julie's like, have you eaten? And she's like, what do you have in mind? And she's like, fried food and beer. Because they know none of these ladies will be doing that. And they literally like just grab their stuff and run.
And just
like,
bolt.
it's so funny to me.
Right.
Because as like a stress eater, like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the only thing that will make everything better. And I like that they recognize, like, this is not a nice thing. Like, this is not like a fun gossip thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a horrible thing.
Yeah. And Julie even knows, like, she's going through a divorce. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, and I think that's softened Julie a bit. Like,
yeah. I agree.
I think, like, at the beginning, like, she still is, like, a bad guy, per se. Mm-hmm. But, like, Julie's more, like, you can see her thought process behind stuff, at least. And that's why, like, her and Caleb just make the juiciest couple of all time.
They really do. They really do. And I love that because it kind of shows how good of a relationship Kirsten and Julie really have. Like that's always sometimes lost in the shuffle throughout some of the episodes because they are at war sometimes, but they do have a good friendship, right? They have a good friendship, you know?
Yeah. And I think like before the divorce, Kirsten kind of like was friends with Julie out of like convenience, and like Julie was her neighbor and like married her childhood boyfriend, and like she was just like there. Exactly. But I think like after the divorce, she's seen Julie kind of mature a little bit.
Yep.
And she kind of like they confide in each other a little bit. Like like they would not ask anyone else of that group to go get fried food and beer.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
It would be
like,
them too. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It would have just
so like that's why like I like that they're not even frenemies, but they do like have these like little fights. But then they're like, "Do you want to go get some fried onion rings?" Like,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But
like the other girls' reactions would have been like, "Ew, fried onion rings."
Like they get salads with no croutons. Like, come on, like
exactly.
But I love their conversation because it's so weird. Like, they're like bonding over things about Kirsten's dad.
Right.
And it's so uncomfortable because I'm like, he's doing this to Julie in like a sexual way. Like, you know, when she's like, do you like that he calls you Kiki? And she's like, no, I hate it. And she's like, he calls me Juju. And I'm like, but he doesn't mean it the same way. Like, it's so gross. But it is true because people always say like you marry like your like girls marry like their father and like guys marry their mother and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's really funny because like you can have that connection, but like you should not. Like
No.
like I would never ever talk to like my husband's mom about like the things my husband does. Like,
Right. Exactly.
like it's just really weird. Like,
Oh, awkward.
like it's so weird. But I love
and the
that
thing about it's so fresh still, right?
it's so fresh because she just addresses that Caleb, she told Caleb that like Jimmy's gonna sell the house and she's gonna have nowhere to live, and he was like, "That's not my problem," and they broke up.
Such a dick, like such a dick.
Okay, what I don't understand is because Julie goes, "I don't want everyone to know that Caleb nickel dumped me," but then she says that she broke up with him when he reacted that way, and I'm like, so what is the truth?
We don't know.
Because I would really admire Julie if a guy reacted like that and she's like, peace out, like done with you. Like
exactly.
But like if she didn't, like if she like confided in him and then he dumped her, like I don't really feel
I really feel like that's something he would do.
Yeah, like he probably had Kirsten text her, like dumped.
Hey, I need you to do me a favor today. Your job.
Can you
today.
fax Julie Cooper a breakup letter? like Oh my god! But then they're like bonding over this
too, because Caleb is the type of guy that he would have somebody send his emails or send his like faxes over to them.
Because like as he's older, so it's like my dad always talks to me about this. He's like, "Well, I emailed someone and I don't really want to do this, especially with COVID. Like my dad's like working from home and stuff. He's like, I don't know what any of the stuff people are asking me to do, but my dad calls to see like to ask us." So I'm like, not only is Caleb like older, so he like probably relies on like younger people in his company, but he always uses like Kirsten for like her personal connections with people.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And he was probably like, tell Julie, like it's over.
It's a wrap. Can't do it anymore.
But Kirsten gives Julie all this advice.
Yes.
She's like, my dad is just always trying to replace my mother, and like that's never gonna happen. And she's like, if he would just wake up out of that, he could find someone to spend his life with. And she's like, he should be relaxing, like having fun, but like have someone to enjoy this wealth and like luxury with.
And she's saying this as like not Julie.
But she's totally saying this like, I don't mean you. I mean someone closer in his age. Exactly. I mean someone that has their own money. So it's not like, and Julie is like, looks like she's listening, but we find out later the wheels are turning.
Exactly.
Like Julie's like, gotcha.
Exactly. Oh, she's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me go ahead and run with this. Right. You're taking mental notes in her head.
Oh my God. But then Jimmy and Sandy. Who have like throughout the episode, they've given us like random little 2-minute scenes with them bonding. Yeah. Like they keep eating lunch together. Like I mean, this is expanding way past legal advice. Because the other thing is, Sandy's not even his lawyer.
No.
Like, Sandy helped him find, like, a specialized tax lawyer. And
is he, like, is he passing the notes from the tax lawyer to Sandy, and then Sandy
because, like, are these billable hours? Like, this is, like, because that's how lawyers are. Like,
oh, my God, yes, they are.
And, you know, Rachel would not allow this. Like, not allow all this free work.
No, not even close.
So they're having lunch, they're bonding. And he's like, thanks for being so cool about this. And in my mind, I'm like, he's right. Like he like straight up told Sandy when they were like laying on the floor eating junk food, like I'm in love with Kirsten.
Yeah, still.
And then I don't know if it's like word vomit or something, but Jimmy just can't stop talking. And he's like, I know you probably only heard about it through Kirsten. He's like, heard about what? And he's like, I'm so sorry. It was just a lapse in judgment. And Sandy's like, heard about what, Jimmy? And then Jimmy gets this look on his face, like he's like, holy shit, he doesn't know. And I'm like, so why would you say anything?
Walk it back.
Like, just be like that. I told you, I still like had feelings for her. Like, like, but Jimmy's a doofus and can't do that. No wonder all this bad stuff was happening to Jimmy. And then he's like, well, I kissed her. And I'm like, why would you tell someone this? It's just so uncomfortable. And then Sandy is just like, Sandy's one of those scary, angry guys because he's never angry. God, do you know what I mean? Like, he's like one of those people, nothing upsets him. Everything rolls off of him. And it's like, this is just like a no.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Sandy is upset visibly. And you're right. That's the weird thing. Like, you look at him, he's like, it's like you've never really seen him like this yet.
Yeah.
Right? he's been upset, like his feelings have been hurt, but this is like that crosses a line, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kissed my wife, and like my wife didn't tell me. Like this is different from handing out $1,000 or $100,000 check, right?
Which is still just like,
it's still random. Why don't you just write him like a $5 million check right now and just be done with it? Maybe he can like avoid jail time. You know what I mean? Just obviously now we transition. Gossip is spreading. Seth finds out, obviously, which is like the greatest thing ever, right? And now everybody knows.
And he runs to Ryan, so excited. And then Seth is just so sad when he realizes like Ryan knew and didn't say anything.
Right. He's heartbroken.
And then he's like, shit, like they're bonding more than us. Like, I thought you were my brother. Like,
exactly.
But
and then of course
Luke is so angry. And then
furious.
Ryan got 2 thumbs down from me for how angry he is at Marissa.
Right. Oh my God. He was okay. Like, I feel like part of his reasoning was obviously like just 3 days ago, she lied to him. Just 3 days ago.
And like her best friend is Summer. Like, it's the same way. Like, Ryan wouldn't tell Seth because Seth is like a blabbermouth.
Right.
And it's like, I understand like the not trusting her, but she has such a deeper relationship with Luke that like, I don't think she would spread that.
Right. Yeah. No, and I agree with you. But I think part of it is like a subconscious, like Ryan has Seth
like he has mommy issues.
Right. Like, yeah, there we go. That's the perfect way. Yeah, he's got mommy issues. That's 100% what it is. He's got mommy issues.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that kind of thing. So, yeah, it was ugly. And you know, Luke had to run out, obviously, because that's just traumatizing all in itself. I mean, I
wonder what time it was. Like, was it like first period? Like, is that an excused absence? Like,
I mean, I'm pretty certain that.
What do you think Dr. Kim said? I wonder if something like that happens. Like, does Dr. Kim call the parents in? Like, did she try to talk to them? Like, because the school was a frenzy. Like,
oh my God.
It looked like in Mean Girls when like she's having like the jungle vision. Like,
yeah,
it was wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there were no rules at that school in that moment. It was like chaos. Everyone was just running.
Yeah,
like
everybody was telling everybody. That's all it was. Like,
yeah, no, my high school would have never let something like that happen ever.
No,
I went to public school. I didn't go to fancy Newport private school. I think because if it's like, I bet you the teachers were gossiping too.
Oh, absolutely.
So like they were like, shit, this is juicy. Like, it's like when a teacher would confiscate a note and then they'd read it and they'd be like, they'd like react to what they were reading. And it's like, but most of the time it was like nothing and they didn't understand it. My best friend and I in high school, we had a code. So if our notes ever got confiscated, no one would know what it was about.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.
I tried to read one like 2 weeks ago. Like, my mom sent me a photo of one. Yeah. I have no idea what it says. Like, I have no idea. I sent it to my best friend. I was like, what were we on? Like, I don't understand.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, I don't blame him for leaving school. I would have left too. Like,
oh my God. In a heartbeat.
I wanted to leave like from like the room. Like, I was like, I can't watch this. Because Luke is such a jerk. So, you know, even his friends like hate him. Yeah. So they were like probably like ready to pounce. Like, because you know, Luke is probably like Regina George in a sense, where like his friends showed up and had done something stupid over the weekend. He probably wouldn't let it go. So they probably were just waiting on something horrible to happen with Luke. Yeah,
they were waiting yep, here we go, guys. Now Luke's no longer the leader of this crew. We can kick him out because he's a dick.
I love so much because the next scene is Sandy and Kirsten. Ooh. But even they're gossiping about it. Like, God. Like, it's like Sandy pretends he hates Newport, but I'm like, homeboy gossips a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Like, but I love he's too upset about Kirsten and Jimmy to like revel in this.
Yeah, because he's just talking about secrets.
But so they're cooking, which I don't understand because they're like at the grill, but then they go inside and they're eating Chinese takeout. But why are they at the grill? Like, I literally rewind it and I was like, maybe they're not cooking. Maybe they're just outside. But why wouldn't you be at the patio furniture? Why would you be hanging out at the grill? Like, it makes no sense. But they're I love this scene because they're at the dinner table with their takeout Chinese food, and Sandy's drinking red wine, and Kirsten's drinking white wine, and I'm like, can you like no, like you guys have to have the same kind of wine. You can't have two. I don't know. I need to know what their Chinese food order is.
I think this particular moment they poured their own glasses of wine. Maybe and normally like Kirsten pours the glasses of wine for both of them, but at this particular moment, Sandy's like, no, I'm not drinking that wine.
Now that you have two open bottles, like come on, guys, come on. But they're talking in code. Like Seth brings up that Luke always calls him a queer, and he's like, isn't that ironic?
Right.
And then Sandy kind of tries to correct him because Sandy's like king liberal, like, like
exactly.
And even for back then, Sandy's pretty ahead of his time.
Exactly. Right.
2003, I feel like people weren't as like on top of this stuff, calling people out.
Not even close.
And then like he's like, well, it's nice to see the shoe on the other foot. And Sandy's like, that's literally not applicable because it's not like Luke is the gay one, like, and then Sandy kind of stops trying to correct him because he's just so annoyed. And then Kirsten is like, well, some people can recover from secrets. Like, I heard Charity filed for divorce, but let's just hope that they as a family can work on this. And Sandy's like all like dark. And he's like, some secrets aren't, we're like, I don't even know what he said, but he was so angry. And I'm just like, my God, like if my parents were talking like this in front of me, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
all right, guys, we'll spill the beans.
I love Ryan knows, like Ryan, because he probably witnessed this with his parents a lot before they split up.
Oh yeah.
And he was he's just like bowing his head down, eating his food, like, I'm staying out of this. Like he knew it was none of his business. But Seth is so clueless. He like won't shut up about Luke calling him a queer. And I'm like, no one's talking about this, Seth. Like your parents are over here like secrets kill marriages. And like you're over here like, well, he always calls me a faggot. Like I'm like, and then Sandy is like, don't say that word. And then like, it's just so funny because there's so much going on, but Ryan is just like staying completely out of it, just like stabbing his food really aggressively. Like, it was just so funny. Like Ryan's part of the family, but he's also like that guest that like witnesses a huge family meltdown. And he's just like ignoring it. Like, it's just wild. It was a wild scene. I would not want to be at that dinner table.
No. And I love
their house is apparently not one to go to a dinner party to.
No, not at all.
Like 2 episodes in a row, I don't want to have dinner there. Which it's like their house, all I want to do is go to their house. But
oh God.
Not for any of these dinners, let me tell you.
It's the kind of house you can go swimming in without opening or letting anybody else know.
Apparently. But then they like Seth apologizes to Summer and Anna.
Such a good apology.
But no, apologize to them individually. I know he's like, you guys are always together, but he could have been like, I need to talk to you guys individually and apologize. Because now he's like 2 for 1 deal. I'm gonna apologize once and not go out of my way to apologize twice.
Well, that's true too.
And I don't like that. I don't like it. It's not the Seth Cohen I remember.
But what I love though is I love how they get like they have this moment, right? Anna and Summer have this moment in the midst of his apology where they're like, oh my God, he's so
and then they don't want to hang out anymore.
No, it just transitions to they're not even interested in I don't do flashcards anyway. And they just kind of get up and storm off. It's just it's hilarious.
And then Summer comes up to Seth first and she's like, what are you doing on Saturday? And then they make a date.
Yes.
And then Seth is all excited, walks out of the building, so excited. And then Anna corners him.
On cloud 9.
And then Anna corners him. And I admire that he tells Anna, I'm hanging out with Summer.
100%.
But then Anna's like, well, what are you doing on Friday? And I'm like, this guy didn't learn shit. Like, that apology meant nothing. Like, this is it's so stressful because I'm like, I really like Seth, but I'm like watching this as an adult. And I'm like, wow, he sucks.
But wasn't Anna just mad for like him doing the same exact thing? And now she's like, you know what?
Encouraging it?
Right, exactly.
It's like really weird. It was weird to watch because I'm like, this is like not, I don't know. It was weird character development. It was like backwards character development.
It was because it's like part of it's
for like everyone involved,
exactly.
Not just Seth or not just Anna, like all of them. It was
everybody.
Weird.
And this whole
like,
episode.
He apologized, but then did the same thing. Like, I don't understand. Like,
And
I
then
mean,
what they're mad, what Anna and Summer were mad about, right?
they're participating.
They're participating. Like obviously,
They're
Summer was the
encouraging.
first one to him, right? Summer was
Yeah.
the first
But
one.
like,
So
is
it's
he
like,
telling Summer like I'm hanging out with Anna on Friday? Like, probably not. I don't know.
yeah, it's an interesting. I just thought it was weird because like Seth is back on the game because he's like, oh well, I'm not doing anything Friday night. But you're thinking like, well, damn, Seth, you just got out of this predicament. Now you're back in it. But then also at the same time, Anna, who was just mad at him for being in this predicament, is now like, well, I'm going to see him Friday night because I'm going to make it so awesome Friday night that he's not going to want to go Saturday night. Like, what is that? Like,
It's
no,
so bizarre.
it's so weird. So weird. It's I don't know. It's funny. I just yeah. And it's funny to me because it's like it's Seth, right? It's nerdy Seth, and Seth
And
has
he's in the weirdest predicament. Like, he's in the predicament the Coens probably thought Ryan would be in.
exactly right,
Like,
exactly. Ryan's locked down. You know what I mean? Like right this second, you know, he's locked down in his relationship. And then we have our moment. Ryan, Luke.
Oh, his house. Not somewhere I'd want to be.
No.
It's they don't explain why does Marissa go with Ryan? Like, I mean, I like it.
She was there already.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
When they opened,
because it just made me so uncomfortable. Like,
no, she was like
the
already
suitcases,
there.
and then like you can hear them arguing, and then the mom like storms off crying, and like I never saw my mom cry, so I was like, I can't imagine seeing your parents like argue like this, and your mom like crying actively. And then she's literally like sobbing upstairs, like you can hear her. Right. And then his dad is like crying and like running after the mom. I'm like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, nobody needs to be at their house.
Right. Not like, anybody. Like, I don't want, like, me as Luke, I would be like, all right, guys.
I would want to leave.
Like, y'all
but
have
then
to go.
They take him like to get out of there, luckily. And it's like, I really admire like Luke for opening up to Marissa and Ryan, because like he's obviously more comfortable opening up to Marissa, but like he does open up in front of Ryan. Marissa gives some really solid fucking advice, and I don't understand why Luke, like I understand like Luke is like currently in a predicament, so he's not really listening to anyone. But Marissa's like, I just went down with all this shit with my dad. And she's like, it's not the same, but it was a secret he kept from us. And like, she's like, but now I can talk to him openly. I like have a better relationship with him now than I did before. Just like, I think like once you get over how horrible it is, like you can establish a new kind of relationship with him that's better than your previous one.
Exactly.
But they already showed us that Luke and his dad already had a nice relationship. So I'm sure he can't understand that. Like, but I don't understand these people that get in a fight with them. I don't understand it. They're from a different school. Like, hey. It's like dark out. Nobody's there. They waited till Marissa was gone. Like, it's really weird. And then they beat the shit out of them.
Oh my God.
But I didn't know how bad it was until they cut to the Cohen's house.
Yeah.
And I hate this scene so much because Julie comes to the door and basically tells Kirsten, I hijacked all your advice and I used it to win your dad back. Yep. Here's a plant. Don't forget to water it.
Yep.
And Julie's like so happy. And Kirsten's face is like, I cannot believe you.
She's floored.
She's speechless.
And then in her head, she's probably thinking, holy shit, I'm the reason they got back together.
Yeah. Because Julie drops a bomb that Caleb is going to buy her house as an investment.
Right. As an investment. What kind of investment is that?
I don't know. Because
how is that a profitable investment?
Their neighborhood is owned by the Newport Group. So he kind of already owned it to begin with.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. So.
It's weird. It's not an investment. I don't know what's going on there.
That's actually very true. I didn't even think about that whenever we saw it. So technically he already owns
like
bought his own property.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Then
this scene's so hilarious. So funny.
Like, she has this plant now, and she's walking back to the kitchen with the plant. And then Sandy's like, Seth, can you ask your mother who was at the door?
Who's visibly right there.
And then Seth is like, Mom, who's at the door? And then she's like, Julie. And then Seth was like, Julie's there. And then Sandy's like, can you ask your mom what she wanted? And then Seth is like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, why am I doing this? Like, no. And then Kirsten lays down the law that like her dad bought the house next door to them and that they're back together and like there's a possibility that Caleb could live next door to them. And Sandy's like, what? And before there's any time to react, Luke is carried in by Marissa and Ryan, and he does not look great.
No.
My God, the guy was beat up.
Why did Luke look worse than?
I don't get that. Like Ryan had like a little red spot, but nothing else.
Luke got his like annihilated.
I think Luke was kind of hoping it would happen to make a point to his dad or something. But then I love that Luke is like, don't call my parents. And then Sandy's like, I'm going to call his dad. Like,
yeah, exactly. He already knew. Yeah.
Like, but man. And it's like, I like that he let them take him to the Cohens. Like, because I guess you wouldn't want to go to Julie's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It was a very good moment. Like, I loved Sandy giving Luke that pep talk, right?
Also, why is Sandy watching cartoons?
Because he likes cartoons.
It's really weird. He's reading the paper and watching cartoons. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it was a very good moment. I think the pep talk that Luke or that Ryan kind of gave Luke kind of got to Luke a little bit. Obviously, talking about his dad, he doesn't have a relationship with his dad, right? You know what I mean? He talked about that while they were in the bleachers and stuff like that. He's like, I know what it's like. You know what I mean? I know what this is like. It's not the same predicament, but you know what I mean? Like, you're lucky enough to even have your dad in your life. You know what I mean? He might not be who you quote unquote thought he was, but it's not the end of the world. Your dad's not leaving forever type situation. You know what I mean? He's still ever present. And then, of course, Luke then leaves with his dad, which is a very sweet moment. You know what I mean? Very, very sweet moment.
I wouldn't have blamed Luke, though, if he didn't.
No, me neither. No, because, again, at the same time, like, he does have this relationship with his dad, but at the same time, he just found out his dad has been living alive for however many years that Luke's been alive. I guess he's 16, 17 years old, whatever he is. He looks like he's 25, but, he's 16, 17 years old right here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the moment between Sandy and Kirsten. It's kind of the kiss and makeup moment, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, it's fine. It's weird. They always do this where they don't resolve any of their issues. They just something bigger happens. They like put it to the side.
Yeah, it's so.
But
weird.
I guess that's kind of like marriage.
It was just weird because it was like, oh, no way you can know everything about someone. And I'm just like, I feel that, but another man kissed you. Like, that's not, this is not just any random secret, right? But, and then right before the end of the episode, I thought it was hilarious. Like, everybody was talking about how Luke, Ryan, Seth, and Marissa were standing at it was like standing there like they were the new group in school, the outcast or whatever. And they were all standing there. And then, Ryan goes, Luke said something about, obviously he's the most recent gossip. And then, of course, Ryan's like, I'll always be known as the kid that, burnt down the house. And then Marissa goes, well, I'm the girl that will be known to try to kill herself in Mexico. And then Seth just goes, I'm still Seth Cohen.
It's so funny. It's so Seth, too.
It really is. And that was basically the end of the episode. Really good episode. Interesting episode. Lots of interesting things kind of transpired. Fun fact, what you got for us?
I only could find one. When the teacher is doing roll call at the very beginning of the episode, she calls out the names of like the producers and like creators of the show.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like they didn't like just make up names, like or like give backstory to any characters in the background.
Exactly.
They just had them name producers of the show.
So we had another we had a comment on our Facebook on our YouTube, which is really awesome. Jeremy Rife, I hope that says that right. But he said, fun fact about your next episode, The Secret, they make an Everwood reference, and Ben McKenzie's cousin, Sarah Drew, was on that show, and he dated Emily Van Camp.
It's amazing.
First off, thank you, Jeremy, for the comment. We really do appreciate that. That's awesome, because we want more stuff like that. We want people to share some, fun facts with us and that we don't know. And that's the whole purpose of the show. So it makes it awesome. MVP. What do you got? This is a hard one.
Yeah, I had a couple. I went with Marissa. because Marissa was kind of like a trooper. Like she understood why Ryan was so mad, but she like was like a bigger person, and she was like, "You just have to know next time. Like everyone knows when you have a secret, you're allowed to tell your significant other."
Right.
But she was like really like cool about everything with Luke and still making sure Ryan understood that like it wasn't their relationship. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she was like the most mature out of everyone in the episode.
Which is
I
weird,
just
but
want to
yeah.
say.
Yeah. For me, like I battled between Marissa and Ryan, right? I leaned to Marissa for the same reasons you did, because she obviously was like the most sane person of the episode. And like for me, it was like Ryan at first. I was like, all right, well, I loved Ryan, but I was on the same boat with you that I didn't really like how Ryan reacted to Marissa, but I semi got it, but at the same time I didn't, you know?
Yeah.
Marissa was great, right? She was just great throughout the episode. She was super funny in this episode. I think that's another thing that stood out to me. What's different from the other ones? I thought she was
Yeah.
really funny in this episode, and she's not always like that, which just made it.
More
But
interesting.
it worked. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was Marissa as well. So I thought it was great. I loved it. A good episode. Obviously, I think it might have been just a little bit of a step back from our last episode, but we know why, because it was just the Thanksgiving episode and everything kind of popped off. But Christmas next week. Are you
Can't
excited?
wait. Yeah, I can't wait.
Make
Love
sure
it.
to head on over to Twitter. Give Kenzie a follow at Ken's Vanunu. Give myself a follow at Ricky Blair _. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and continuing to listen to the show each and every week. It makes it fun. As you can tell, we have a lot of fun talking about the show. And it's been a blast doing this. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.